Hey everybody, this is George Brasher with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
Going deep for Smith. Irv Smith. What a run by Smith. Look at that. Touchdown. Oh, my.
What's up, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And this is the Two Irish Brothers Show. Now, you guys know the drill. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. See that little tab in the bottom right-hand corner where the green play logo is? Hit it right now. You know you want to. We are close to 800 subscribers, so help us reach that goal. We would greatly appreciate it. We put a lot of work into this for you guys, and we love doing it for you.
Yep, and we don't get a dime.
What's that? Well, you broke up there.
Don't get paid a dime. So.
Yes, exactly. No payday, nothing. We do it out of love for Notre Dame and out of love for college football. So, with that said, Ben, the day has arrived. It is college football playoff selection Sunday and the New Year's Six Bowls and all of that. But here's the thing. This is a Notre Dame football channel first. So Notre Dame comes first. Now, obviously, we knew coming into Selection Sunday here that playoffs was not going to happen. Neither was a New Year's Six bowl game. So let me just get right to the chase here. Cut right to the chase. Georgia getting upset last night actually caused a lot of mayhem in where our potential bowl game destination is going to be. Now, I don't know what all you've heard, but since that Alabama upset of the Bulldogs last night, the ReliaQuest Bowl, which everybody had us going to, that's not exactly a guarantee anymore. That's not a for sure thing.
Yeah.
The ones that I've been hearing from places that I've been reading, our options are looking like the ReliaQuest Bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and it sounds like we might have an outside shot at the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, I've also seen the Gator Bowl. I saw us potentially playing Tennessee in the Gator Bowl.
Okay, yeah, Gator Bowl, I guess, could still technically be in there too. But all I know is that upset in the SEC championship, it shuffled a lot of things around. So at this point, who knows where who knows where we're gonna go? Who knows where or who our opponent's gonna be?
Yep.
We won't find out for another couple hours yet after we upload this video. But here's the thing. It's in my opinion, just my opinion, when the bowl games are announced later tonight, could be something completely different. But I think we're possibly looking at most likely the ReliaQuest Bowl or the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So, Ben, how I feel, and as well as anybody else watching, you guys know how I feel about sponsor name only bowls.
Right.
Everybody knows that. So this is probably the one thing that everybody's looking forward to, and I know that I look forward to making it. But for argument's sake, at this point in time, let's say the bowl game destination that we're looking at is the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando, which I think it was formerly known as, I think it was the old Camping World Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right?
And then, yeah, that sounds right.
It's gone through a number of sponsor changes over the decades. But this is what I'm talking about. Sponsors come and go. There needs to be one name for the bowl game. The corporate sponsor, separate. And this is one of the most easiest fixes I've ever had. I know a lot of people are expecting pineapples. Nope, not the case this year. Not doing any pineapples. But this one was a very easy fix. So if our bowl game is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and on this, I just want to make it clear, people, this is not official. This is just a concept. Same with the opponent. Same with the opponent on this poster. We don't know who it is. This is just what the projections are saying.
Yeah, hypothetical.
So, yes, a complete hypothetical. Absolutely. So let's just say it is the Pop-Tarts Bowl. This was a very simple fix. The Pop-Tarts Tangerine Bowl. Bring that name back. This was the most simple fix I've ever had when making these posters when Notre Dame ends up in one of these sponsor name only bowls. So it's in Orlando. It's in Florida, tropical weather. Bring back the Tangerine name. the Tangerine Bowl game name. They did that in the early 2000s for a few years. I think back then it was sponsored by Mazda, though. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But this is so much better. Why is it that the bowl committee or whoever decides these, we have enough people referring to these minor bowl games as the toilet bowl and not worth watching, blah, 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 and so on. I think if you did something like this, then it would be more appealing, more traditional, and more attractive to the viewing audience. Maybe it won't change their mind. I don't know. But I think with a lot of people, it would change their mind to some degree. Don't you think so, Ben?
Yeah, I totally agree.
So going forward, if Notre Dame gets either the Pop-Tarts Bowl or the ReliaQuest Bowl, this is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it the Tangerine Bowl, because I think this gives more respect to both schools, the coaches, and the players, and of course, us, the fans who are going to be watching the game. So you look at this poster, it makes perfect sense. Has a nice logo, the old Tangerine Bowl logo. The sponsor, Pop-Tarts, is well represented. So are the two schools. Give me your thoughts, Ben, honestly.
No, I think that they should have a thing like that. I think that it should be like Tangerine Bowl or the Orange Bowl or whatever, sponsored by Verbo or FedEx or Pop-Tarts or Kellogg's or whoever. I think that's how it should be. I don't think it should just be the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yeah, because right now, exactly what I expected, like especially on Twitter, you got a lot of people mocking our destination with Pop-Tarts gifs and pictures and all that. And it's like, if they made something like this and they did something simple like give the bowl game its own name, and in this case, bring back the Tangerine Bowl name, a lot of people might not feel that way. They'd be like, all right, you know what? This isn't the playoffs. This isn't the NY6, but what we got is still pretty good and pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
So I'll take the poster off so we can get back to us face-to-face here, so that way you guys can see us. But quick little history lesson. What we now know is the Citrus Bowl, that was originally the Tangerine Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It was started back in 1947. They switched to the Citrus name, or the Citrus Bowl name, I believe, in 1982. And so then it became the Citrus Bowl. It's stayed that way ever since. And then I forget what bowl it was, but one bowl brought back the Tangerine Bowl game name in the early 2000s, like I said. And so yeah, that's my reason for doing this. So again, moving forward, if we get one of these two bowl games, the ReliaQuest or the Pop-Tarts, I'm going to be calling it that. And I've got a poster made up for the ReliaQuest if we still do have the ReliaQuest Bowl in our future. So I'll make sure and show that one to you guys too.
Time will definitely tell.
In a few hours, we'll know for sure. But no, that's the thing, Ben. I know this is not what any of us Irish fans wanted. I mean, nobody goes into the season saying, yeah, we want to go to a minor bowl game. We want to go to
right.
Nobody shoots for the Tangerine Bowl. Nobody shoots for the Citrus Bowl or even the Holiday, Alamo, Gator, whatever. No, you want to play in the NY6 or the playoffs. But and I'm very passionate about this stuff with these minor bowl games. I really am. This is not just a running gag or a shtick. But the point is, if this is what you end up getting, then embrace it. It's one more game to play. It's one more game for us to enjoy for our team's season. I mean, no, it sucks that we didn't make the playoffs or an NY6 bowl game, but this is what we've got. Let's embrace it and just support our team.
Yep, I agree.
That's my thoughts on it. And you guys don't have to ooh and ah over the poster that I made or anything, but it's just the concept is the main thing that I'm getting at here. So, so with that said, Ben, let's talk about all the big news this past week with Notre Dame, and we'll get to the college football playoff, people. But like I said, it's the Notre Dame First channel.
Yep. And
I asked this in a short that I did for our channel here a couple days ago. Are we going to have enough receivers to play in the bowl game?
Yeah. we have a pretty depleted wide receiver core at the moment.
Let's rehash here real quick. And I'm talking the receivers only because that's the biggest even tight ends too, because we lost Holden Stays to the portal as well.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about our receivers and tight ends. We lost Tobias Merriweather, Rico Flores, Chris Tyree. Who's one that I'm blanking on? Braylon James, the freshman, and then Holden Stays, as I just mentioned.
Yep.
That is for one position group on a team, that is devastating.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I have to go back and look at this, but I'm pretty sure all we have left on the roster are 3 healthy wide receivers, being Jaden Greathouse, Jordan Faison, and I'm pretty sure Jaden Thomas is back practicing with the team.
And then Ben Skoranek. Or not Ben Skoranek.
Matt Salerno.
Salerno, sorry, yes. Matt.
Okay, so 4. We got 4 receivers left on the team. And then we, of course, as far as tight ends go, we have Flanagan, we have Eli Raridan. Obviously, we all know Mitchell Evans was done for the year.
Right, and he'll be coming back next season. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very depleted.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's safe to say that I think Stuckey's departure / firing, depending on how you look at it, I guess, hit home with some of these kids. And, I definitely think that he, just looking out at it from the outside, because obviously neither one of us have an inside scoop to the team or anything like that, it looks like Stuckey was very much loved by that receiving core. And when you have personnel changes like that, that's what unfortunately goes with the territory. If that theory is 110% right. So, yeah, I mean, it's, onward and upward and just, we got to keep moving forward. And, thankfully the silver lining, I guess, is that we are playing in a smaller bowl game. So this isn't going to hurt as bad. Not for the fact that we're playing someone that is lesser, but for the fact that we are short those guys. So,
well, it seems like at this point in time, the way things are right now, we're probably going to have to move some running backs to out to play receiver.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Probably guys like. Well, then again, what could also be affect this as well is, what does Audric Estime do?
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking that in the back of my head. What if Estime sits out, which is a very big possibility. Now you're down another guy. I mean, so you're going to have to really shuffle some pieces around to fill spots and voids and holes and however you want to word it. So
there better be some walk-ons ready to go.
So it's going to be interesting to see A, who the matchup is, and B, who's lined up where. It'll be really, really interesting to see after this game's announced the depth chart for the game.
Yes.
And seeing who is, quote unquote, on the said depth chart and lined up in receiver or running back. So yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
That thumbs up just popped up, and I think that agrees with you. See, I gotta add this in though, and I said this in the short, and I told everybody in that short more to come. But I got to be completely honest here. I'm not all these guys that have transferred. I'm not going to start bad mouthing them. I'm not. I understand that there comes a time where you have to do what's best for your personal future, and that means making hard decisions. I get that, really, yeah. I do. But I just being completely honest here. The position coach getting let go, that's not if that's the sole reason that you're transferring and hitting the portal, if that's the sole reason is that Chancey Stuckey got fired, in my opinion, that's not a good enough excuse to just up and hit the transfer portal. There better be something else going on. And like I said in the short, I hope nothing else is going on. But all I'm saying is just the position coach leaving is not a good enough reason to transfer. And there'd better be something else going on. Like, I don't know, one of the coaches broke a promise that they made to you, or you're not being treated well, or even NIL purposes, or whatever the case may be. There'd better be something else going on.
More playing time at a different university, stuff like that.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. But the position coach, I mean, these guys got to realize, and I'm sure they do. Assistants come and go all the time, whether it be by firing or by they go to another school, take a position there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you're just leaving, if that's the sole reason you're leaving is because Stuckey got fired, then that's not a good enough excuse. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. He was not going to stay at Notre Dame forever.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that every athlete needs to know. Regardless of who recruited you, an assistant, head coach, it doesn't matter. They're not going to stay there forever like guys like Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden, Eddie Robinson. And I think the best two examples, Kirk Ferentz at Iowa today, that is. Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, and then what's his name? The head coach at Utah, who's been there since like 2004, 2005.
Kyle Whittingham.
Yes, that's it. I couldn't remember his name. I was blanking on it. But coaches aren't going to stay at a place very long anymore. Usually the average is like 10 years at one place.
Yeah, at the very most, yeah.
You on average anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my opinion on that, is because if it's because your position coach got let go and that's your only reason for transferring, not a good enough reason or excuse. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's all complicated. I mean, it's so many things that go every which way with these guys and stuff. And the bottom line is it stinks losing guys. That's the bottom line. And it stinks that it's hitting Notre Dame right now when, most of us feel like Notre Dame is a step or two away from being a very, very good, solid football team. But, these guys aren't Freeman's guys. Freeman's just starting to get his guys in. So, there's a lot of, there's understanding, with all that. So, I don't have much of an opinion on that, but our next couple topics, I will definitely have a very big opinion on.
So which one of those topics do you want to hit on first? I know we got a couple more to go yet.
You pick it.
All right. Well, let's talk about the big news today. Obviously, the college football playoff, the Final Four have been set along with the other New Year's Six bowl games. The big topic right now is, for starters, Georgia getting knocked out of the top four altogether, and two, which these actually should be co-number ones actually, but Florida State, the first ever undefeated Power 5 conference champion, to be left out. And I was watching a little bit of the selection show, and I was hearing sides from or arguments from both sides, especially what's his face, Booger McFarland. He was not happy with it that Florida State was left out. But at the same time, I can see the committee's decision on why they did it. I mean, Jordan Travis is out for the year. As I've always said, and as most people know, a football team starts with its quarterback. And I'm not saying that this would happen or that this is going to happen, but Florida State going up against, I guess they would have been going up against Michigan in the Rose Bowl had they made it. Could we have seen a potential for a repeat of what happened between TCU and Georgia last year in the championship? Because I say that because Florida State didn't have its quarterback. So what I'm saying is there's both ways you can look at it. Yeah.
I don't think the talent gap between those two schools is that extravagant. So, I think in that situation, I think Florida State's defense would pose a huge threat to that Michigan offense, like Iowa did. I mean, if you go and look at the stats of some of the guys on Michigan, that score doesn't show some of the struggle that those guys had in that game. So, I don't know. I think it is an absolute joke that Florida State was left out. I do not understand how you put Alabama in over Florida State. Like, I could see Texas over Florida State, even though they have one loss to Florida State's undefeated season. I get that. But Alabama, I just, when you get beat by multiple scores at home by a Texas team, I just don't see it. I in my opinion, the tiebreaker qualities go to Florida State. Common opponent is LSU. Florida State boat raced LSU. Alabama struggled against LSU. Florida State has an undefeated record. Alabama does not. I mean, and the bigger thing is too with the LSU matchup is Florida State played LSU on a neutral field site.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do not understand how you keep Florida State out of the conference or out of the playoffs. I mean, it should be Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State, in my opinion, and not Alabama.
Well, and also I know that they did show the difference in the strength of schedules too. Like Alabama was, I think, top 5, and Florida State was 55th. So I mean, I get that there has to be, the line has to be drawn somewhere. I get that, but at the same time, an undefeated Power 5 conference champion left out. It's like, I don't know. I'm torn between. I mean, look, what I'm saying is I'm not trying to just take a middle of the road approach on this, but both schools made their cases.
Yeah, and this is why we want the 12-team playoff. This is why people go, oh, it makes it so much easier for some of these teams, and it makes the regular season not as important. No, the regular season is still very, 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 very important. And by having a 12-team playoff, or even an 8-team playoff, or heck, even a 6-team playoff, you avoid situations like this where there is that, okay, well, Alabama did get stronger for after that Texas loss. They did win the rest of their games. They did go undefeated in conference play. They did beat a top 5 team in Georgia on a neutral field site. There is none of these, okay, let's go by a tiebreaker. There is, okay, Alabama's in. They may be an 8 seed, but they're in. Or they may be a 6 seed, but they're in. Florida State's a 3 seed or whatever. So, yeah, that's why we're going to this expanded playoffs, because situations like this have happened every year, not only since the inception of the CFP, but even the BCS system. I mean, we saw an undefeated Utah team get excluded in the national championship. They go and destroy Alabama in the Sugar Bowl in Alabama's backyard, in New Orleans. I mean, they could have easily been the national champion that year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so yeah, this is why the 12-team playoff has to be. The rest of those guys in it, Texas, Michigan, and Washington, they deserve to be there. Texas beat Alabama in Alabama's house, by 2 scores, even though they have one loss. They're one of those one-loss teams that legitimately deserve a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a case for Ohio State deserving to be in there. You can make a case for Oregon deserving to be in there, even though Oregon has 2 losses. Both of the losses were to Washington. Both of the losses were a 1-score loss. I mean, you can make a case for a bunch of teams to be in that college football playoff. So in my opinion, it's just an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke that Florida State's not in it. And to use, and I'm not trying to step on your toes, Sean, but to use the excuse of Jordan Travis not being there is bullshit, in my opinion. It's absolute bullshit. Football is not a one-man show. Yes, a quarterback can make or break you, but Florida State has shown that defense and their running back and their wide receiver core and stuff, they're still very, very good. So if you're going to tell me that Florida State doesn't deserve to be there just because Jordan Travis isn't there, that's bullshit.
I 100% agree. I mean, is he a very dynamic and a very talented player? Yes, of course. But to punish a team because one guy's hurt, that part is definitely BS.
So yeah, I mean, it's I think Georgia should be in the playoffs. I think Georgia and Alabama both, in my opinion, should be in the playoffs because of what they've done and all that. I mean, Georgia has lost one game in 30 or something like that. I mean,
they did lose to Alabama last year as well in the SEC championship.
No, Georgia won the SEC championship last year. Georgia was undefeated.
I was thinking there was one. I thought there was one of those years Alabama beat them in the SEC championship, but then they beat them in the national title game as well.
No, the last 2 seasons Georgia's gone undefeated. So
now you got me curious because I want to look this up. You got me very curious.
It's just and like I said, this just in my mind justifies why. 2 things. It justifies why Notre Dame should never go to a conference and continue to stay as an independent, because this is what happens even when you're in a conference and you do everything right, being potentially 14-0 like Florida State and not even getting a shot at the national title. And it justifies the 12-team playoff, because this is what happens when you only do 4 teams. There are guys and teams that are excluded that don't deserve to be excluded.
Right.
So.
Okay. I know. Okay. I looked it up. It was 2021, the 2021 SEC championship. Yeah. Alabama did beat Georgia.
Okay.
Then last year they Georgia beat LSU.
Yes.
And then this year, Alabama beat Georgia again.
Yeah.
So I was okay. My facts were somewhat a little bit mixed up.
Yeah.
I got the years mixed up.
And I mean, like Michigan gets a little bit of trouble for me only because it's like, okay, who did you play other than Ohio State and Penn State? Who did you play in the championship? You played Iowa. Okay, an interesting statistic. Since the birth of the actual Big Ten championship game, okay, not a single team on the west side of things ever won the championship.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, in my opinion, the championship, if you will, was Ohio State and Michigan.
Right.
And why? And this is something that my brother and I were talking about, because my brother was born in Ohio, and he's a big Ohio State guy.
I'm sorry for him.
I don't understand why in the world, this is a tangent, why in the world you put Michigan and Ohio State in the same division. I don't get that. And I will say that until I'm blue in the face. Like, you can do it like Alabama and Tennessee. You can do it like South Carolina and Clemson. You can do it like Georgia and Georgia Tech. They still get to play each other every year. You got to give them on opposite sides. So in this situation, the championship is actually 2 teams that deserve to be in the championship and not a team that is good but not great.
There's a few conferences that do have it right. I mean, the Pac-12, even though it's going to be non-existent here pretty soon, they have it right. They did away with divisions. The Big 12, I know they tried divisions one year, I think, but I'm pretty sure they're all just a round robin.
Yeah.
The ACC, they're going to be doing away with divisions. The Big 10 needs to follow suit. Do a pod system or whatever.
Well, and it sounds like they're going to have to now that they're adding Washington and Oregon and Southern Cal and UCLA and all that. So
yeah, because I mean, really, it's everybody knows that Western Division has been a joke not a joke, but they're the weakest of the 2 divisions. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
It's like the SEC in the East. Every now and then you see Georgia and Florida come out of the East and make some noise, but the rest of the teams in the East just couldn't stack up against the West of the SEC.
Yeah. So you got to have something that makes it actually competitive. And now, granted, this is going to sound funny how I say this, but even though it was only a 26-point victory for Michigan last night, and I say that because I was expecting them to put up a lot more than 26, but 26-0 still an ass whooping. I said it before coming into that game that Iowa was going to get their crap tossed, and they sure as hell did.
Yeah.
And
Iowa just doesn't have an offense. That's the thing. Like if they had an actual, not even decent, if they had a mediocre offense, they would have stood somewhat of a chance against Michigan. But they don't have any offense.
Oh, it's not just a mediocre offense. If Kirk Ferentz wasn't afraid to recruit quarterbacks, if he had an average quarterback at best, that offense could be dangerous.
Yeah. So
because they've had a history of pretty good tight ends, a few good receivers, and so on. But it's like, the one thing they've always been lacking is a quarterback.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let's hit these NY6 Bulls.
Yes. Well, we got some pretty good matchups. The first one I want to start with is how about the Liberty Flames, man?
Yep.
Congratulations to them making the NY6. They're going to be playing Oregon in the what was it, the Fiesta Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Let me bring these up so I have them right.
Yeah. Well, good luck to Liberty because I think Oregon's going to stomp them.
I hate saying that, but everybody knows how good Oregon is.
I think Oregon's mad. They're mad that Washington got them twice. This is a situation where I would not want to be anybody playing Oregon in that bowl game. Doesn't matter if it was Ohio State, doesn't matter if it was Alabama, Georgia, whoever's coming up against them, they would be in for a rude awakening. And I think Liberty is going to get, they're going to get tossed by Oregon.
And you hope that's not the case, but that's how it's looking like right now. Is that Oregon's just going to roll? But you hope that it's a competitive game at least. So the next one we have, and I agree with this, what Booger McFarland said, but I'll get there in a second. We have the Orange Bowl, Florida State and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Now that's a good matchup.
The two teams that got snubbed, and what I agree with McFarland on is this is Florida State's opportunity to make a statement to show like, hey, you guys screwed us and you did us wrong.
Yeah. Well, and what a chance that Florida State has to play two top at the time of playing two top 25 SEC teams, in LSU and Georgia, I think this is Florida State's game to lose. And I think Florida State's going to make some noise in this one.
I think so too. I think it's going to, this is a game that I think is going to come down to the wire, but at the same time, could it be the fact of what we just said in the Fiesta Bowl that Oregon's going to be pissed and they're going to stomp Liberty to the curb? Could that be the case with Georgia? Hey, they're pissed. Their one loss was in the SEC championship and they get knocked out altogether. They're probably going to come in with that same mentality and, well, I hate saying this, take advantage of the fact that Florida State is without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, this will be the most intriguing matchup of the entire shebang in bowl games and college football playoff.
Yeah. And I just so you know, it looks like they're starting to update bowl matchups, make them official, I think. Or these are just projections. I don't know. Let me look real quick. See, right now it's saying the ReliaQuest is, I'm looking at our bowl games here, our potential ones. It's saying the ReliaQuest is Wisconsin versus LSU.
Interesting.
Gator is NC State versus Auburn. It says Pop-Tarts, Kansas State versus Notre Dame. So that, yeah. But the question is it doesn't say on here if these are, it doesn't say if these are projections or if these are final. So I don't know. I'm not going to speculate until I see something official. So, yeah. So anyway, so going back to the NY6 matchups, that Orange Bowl is going to be a good one. So now we go on to the Peach, the Ole Miss Rebels against the Penn State Nittany Lions, which on paper looks like a good matchup, but I think Ole Miss has the edge here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Ole Miss has the edge. I agree.
It's just I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but Penn State has been so overrated. They've been given more. I'm sorry, but they've been given more credit than what people are giving them credit for.
Yeah,
they're given. Let me rephrase that. I misspoke. They're given more credit than what they deserve.
Yeah, everybody talks about Notre Dame being overrated, but every year we hear Penn State's coming. Penn State's going to do this. Penn State's going to do that. Blah, 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 blah. And then they don't beat Ohio State. They plummet. They don't beat Michigan. They plummet even more, and then they either eke out a bowl win or they get stomped.
Yeah. And if you want to make the argument saying that, okay, they've done more than us, okay, fine. But as far as national championships and all this hype, they haven't done anything else.
Well, when was the last time that Penn State made the college football playoff? I'll wait.
So, I mean, on paper, it looks like a good matchup, but who knows? So the final one, the Cotton Bowl, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who just still infuriates me all these months later, taking on the Missouri Tigers, and I have to go with Ohio State on this one.
It depends on what Missouri team shows up. If the Missouri team that played Tennessee shows up, then they have a good shot at playing Ohio State. But if it's the Missouri team that started the year kind of rough and eked out a couple wins and stuff, then yeah, Ohio State's got this one in the bag.
I will say this though, I was doing a show with Mark on The Voice of College Football some time ago, and we had this one guy call in, which I'm pretty sure he was on something because he sounded high because he kept laughing like a stoner, and he kept saying that Missouri had the best team in the nation and then the best defense, this and that, was laughing. It's sad that stoner could have been onto something or had a shred of credibility.
Yeah.
Because the fact that Missouri's actually playing in a BCS bowl right now, I mean, it speaks volumes for what that program's done. But you're right, though. It's going to depend which Mizzou team shows up.
Yeah.
So that covers all the
the NY6, man, for the NY6. They're all really intriguing matchups. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be fun. There's definitely some good matchups in there, and we're probably gonna get some hate comments for what we just said about said teams on like Penn State and all that. But as we always say, bring it on.
Hey, wasn't it the last time we played Penn State we beat them? Isn't that correct?
No, the last time we played Penn State was 2007.
Oh, and that was right. But I keep thinking that the last time was okay. Yeah. That's Snowball. You're right.
We shredded them the year before in South Bend. But when we went there, that was when we lost a hell of a lot of talent, and they just
rolled.
Yeah, they rolled us. I forget the exact score, but they beat us pretty bad.
But yeah, I mean, if you talk about terms of recent success, in my opinion, we've had more success than Penn State. And I know that there was the whole Joe Paterno situation and then Jerry Sandusky and all that, and that really hurt that program, and I get that. But we were down pretty bad too during those times, and we made the best of it. So we'll see. We'll see. I wish nothing. I wish Penn State nothing but the best in their bowl game, but that's just our thoughts on this situation.
And just for the record, us bringing up that situation with Paterno and Sandusky, that's not a knock. That's just what was happening. That's what was happening at the time.
It happened. The program got hit by the NCAA. Whether you agree with it or don't or disagree with it, that's a fact. So yeah, no, it's not a knock against Penn State at all. It's just facts. So.
And besides, I hope Sandusky's getting a taste of his own medicine in prison.
Yeah. So
I was expecting you to crack up laughing at that.
No.
Yeah. Too dark of a joke. Okay. Yeah. So, again, this site that I'm reading all the other bowl games from, it's The Athletic. I honestly don't know. I mean, actually, let me get my glasses on. The only reason I took them off is I've had a few people complain about the glare from my glasses, that it's too distracting. But yeah, they have all these teams listed for all the other bowl games, but again, it doesn't say if these are fact or if these are
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to be announced tonight.
Okay, because
morning, and then the rest of the stuff will be announced tonight. So I think those are all just projections, if you will. So
yeah.
Yep. And this is a great stopping point. This is, we covered a lot in a little time, and whoever Mizzou coach just trolled Michigan on socials. That's hilarious. Just saw that pop up on my alerts. Whatever happens with Notre Dame happens, and we're true fans, if you will. We're homers. The homerism is strong in this podcast show, however you want to call it. And we don't care. I don't care. If you want to call me a homer all you want, I don't look at it as a knock. I look at it as a sign of pride and as a thing of pride. So, I'm always going to support Notre Dame. They may frustrate me to no end. But whoever we got, I'm going to believe that Notre Dame has a shot to beat them, and I'm going to be watching the game.
Amen. I mean, we're homers, but I think we're at least fair, and we're not going to be like all these other dopes in the Notre Dame fan base who just want to run away and bitch and complain and
try to be fair with our opponents. We don't try to trash our opponents too much. We don't try. My wife and I were at lunch today, took the family out to lunch, and she's not a big sports person, and I was talking to her about the situation because we got some friends that are diehard Alabama, fans, and I said that, I disagree. I'm happy for them, but I disagree that Alabama is being there. I think Florida State should be there. And my wife goes, "I thought you hate Florida State." And I told her, I said, "Yeah, I do hate Florida State. I do, but I'm never going to not give a rival opponent credit when they deserve it." And in my opinion, Florida State deserved and did enough to get that college football playoff berth. Whether I hate them or like them is a different story.
Yes. So, it's about putting the right teams in.
So
at the end of the day.
So yeah. So anyway, as we say.
Well, I just want to add in one thing, one final thing. And in case I forgot this, if to all Notre Dame fans out there, if you're going to do nothing but complain and bitch and whine because of what's happened the past week, and yes, I'm right there with you. All these guys who've hit the portal, I don't like it. And you guys heard, if you watched the earlier part of this video, you heard me say that. But if you're gonna like, for lack of a better term, boycott this team because of that and all that stuff, and because we're not playing in a major bowl game, and if you're just gonna make fun of it because it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl, but like I said, the Pop-Tarts Tangerine Bowl, just go with that.
Mm-hmm.
That. And I wish these bowl games would get a clue on that, because it's such an easy fix. But anyway, if you're just going to walk out on the team because things get a little rough and things get a little not good, then go cheer for somebody else. Because if you're just going to bitch and moan and whine, then get out of Dodge. We don't want you.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between having an opinion and a difference between having, or just being an asshole who's constantly bitching, whining, bashing the players and the coaches and the team in general.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yep.
So there you go. Either love it or leave it. Simple as that.
Yep.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I agree. I totally agree.
So with that said, people, I am Sean Moriarty.
I'm Benjamin Walters.
And as we always say, good night. God bless. Smash that subscribe and like tab or dislike, and go Irish.
Go Irish. Beat K-State, Tennessee, or LSU?
We'll find out. We'll find out. God bless everyone.